My alternator is not frozen up. This is the belt jammed all back behind this pulley. Yeah. Oh man, look at that. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Yes, the Mini Cooper is in the air and is broken again. About a year ago, I put an alternator from O'Reilly in this. We were in the middle of a trip when the alternator went out. About an hour and a half away from home. We were going 5 hours, so we had to trailer it the rest of the way. It went out again. I was driving home the other day. Luckily, not from Virginia to North Carolina, but I saw a puff of smoke in the background, the back of the car. Didn't know what was going on. I knew something, and then battery light came on, AC stopped. So I'm not able to spin the alternator, so I'm pretty sure it is the alternator. But I think the pieces of the belt wrapped around the crankshaft pulley and unseated the front main seal. So I ordered a front main seal. While I'm in the front, I've got a water pump. Should be here today or tomorrow. The idler for the water pump, 'cause it's got a really weird setup, and the tensioner. So all that's going to get replaced. I'm not going to go over the alternator since I've already done that. But I think this will be mostly a water pump video. And I don't know whether or not this will be its own video, but it might be. This solenoid here. So this is the solenoid for the variable valve timing. Having that removed makes it easier to get the alternator out, but I haven't been able to pull it in a while. I've wanted to look at it, but the T25, I think T25 hex is stripped out. So I've got to get that out, and I've got some left-handed drill bits and some extractors. Hopefully they'll work. I've tried them. Well, I've only tried a few things before. I just didn't want to waste my time. So that's how I'm going to start. This cross member piece here has to come off. It's pretty simple. A couple of 13 millimeter bolts, a couple of 10 millimeter bolts. Comes right out, basically. And then I'll support the engine, lift the motor mount up. I'm also going to replace this upper motor mount because the engine shifts a little bit. So that's the plan, guys. I'm going to dive right in here and get some of this stuff taken apart. See if I can't extract that stupid stripped out Torx bolt. Good news is solenoid, CVT solenoid actually came out pretty easily. The other good news is my alternator is not frozen up. So I think our O'Reilly alternator is still in good shape. I think the belt, and the belt is over here. Don't mind this other Mini Cooper engine. It's a little older, 2005. But here's what's left of the belt. And yeah, I think the belt was just wrapped around the alternator and I couldn't turn it. So it was like one V belt that was still wrapped around. Actually, I think it had gone up into this groove here, which is not a V belt groove. So yeah, that was it. But The tensioner is pretty rough down there. Still tensioned, but yeah. Then there's a weird idler. It's a plastic piece here, right there, that goes on the water pump pulley. Has a rubber. It's like a tire. It's got a rubber on the outside. So I think we're still going to move ahead with those since those are ordered. I'm going to check the front of this engine, see where all this oil is coming from. There is a little bit that came out of the solenoid hole, but otherwise, that's it. The other solenoid back there has the same problem, but that's a future me problem. Since this one was clean, I think, you know, any small idling issues are either the full CVT gears need to be replaced. It's probably the case, but yeah, for now, let's get the wheel off and get down into that. I've got to pause this project. I just checked the water pump that's supposed to be here already today. Everything else was delivered today. Is it's not coming until Saturday when the other idler and the belt comes. So I'm just going to stop right here. But I will tell you a couple of tips, right? So mount off, and I'm going to replace this motor mount, so this motor mount is on its way as well. But I took that mount off, and in my video with for the alternator, my alternator video, you know, it all needed to come out, right? This upper pillar mounting bracket thing, and then you know, you got kind of this gap right here, but also taking all this off here, you can move the engine back and forth pretty easily, so you can push it back. So to get the alternator out, I was able to get it out from here. I think I've got 2 bolts out already, and there's 1 more on the bottom, I believe, but luckily I don't have to touch that. I was able to fish it out from right here. So with my wife pushing the motor back, so you've also got this hole right here, and you can put an extension in there if you need to, probably a 3/8. I don't think a 1/2 inch will fit, but you can put a 3/8 extension in there. Let's try 1/2, right? Yeah, this 1/2 inch extension fits perfect. So you can put a 1/2 inch extension, a longer 1/2 inch extension, and use this to move the motor around if you want. And when we get down here, we are going to need this removed so that I can bring the engine up and down to get to those bolts, because I think those bolts, this tool was my friend for getting those bolts. These other bolts here on this plastic idler I bought, and what I will use is this long 10 millimeter. So I got this is a gear wrench, so it wasn't very expensive from Amazon. So it's box end on both sides, but ratcheting box end on that side. So this will be the tool. But like I said, it's Thursday. My parts aren't come till Saturday. So Saturday afternoon, I will pull this thing apart and then stand by for the parts, because I'm going to leak coolant all over the place. Would have been fine to just do the alternator and leave everything else, but since the alternator is not coming, I'm not going to pull everything else apart, and I can just put this bracket back on and pull it in and out. All this stuff can stay as it is. You can do a very short, you know, 10 feet back. So that's the plan. These aluminum valve covers are junk. Or I'm sorry, these plastic valve covers are junk. The aluminum valve covers I've had fits with the PCV valve, and these tubes don't fit. So look at all the oil there. So yeah, the only thing delivered today is the front crank seal. So sure, of course that would come, but nothing else. So let's stand by. But yeah, the wheel comes off, the inner fender comes off, and then like I said, you can raise and lower, get to that. From what I remember, that pulley didn't require a puller. I just slid it off. So that'd be good. That's also going to be out of the way to get these other two. It's all 10 millimeters here. This one's 18 millimeter. These are 13 millimeters. So 10, 18, 13, and the wheel is 17. So pretty simple, pretty standard. T25, and then these long bolts for this tensioner are an inverted, or an inverted Torx 10. So T10 but inverted. So you can see that star pattern there. There's a couple more bolts like that, but I don't think I have to take any of those out. So, all right, we'll be back in a couple of days, but a few seconds for you. Back to where I left off. Pro tip, well, beginner tip, idiot tip. If you disconnect your hood release, because you have to take off that cross member thing there, don't close your hood. It's not good. And if you do, the best way to get to your cable, don't take off the tire and the fender well cover thing. No access whatsoever. Don't even try it. Not helpful. Don't rip your grill out. Mine was already broken anyway, so also not helpful. Between the bezel here on the hood and the light, you can get in here, and I have a long pair of needle nose pliers. You might be able to use some other type of hook, a hanger or something, and you can pull it out and then get this thing unhooked. That was great. So the frustration of that is over. Got the wheel off, and now I'm going to pull this cover off. I'm not going to show you it, but there is a T27 up here I've already pulled out. A couple of these are Phillips heads. Once these twist out, they'll fall right out, and then just one of these tools to pop the center part of this out, and then pop the whole thing out. So they're just little push pins, basically push things. Like you got to take the center out, then the rest of it, and then it comes out pretty easy. So we'll do that, and then I'll just pull this out of the way. It's kind of split here, but solid across the top. So I don't think that needs to be put on camera. It's pretty easy. Don't worry about it. It's flexible. It'll move. So I'm going to do that. Well, here's our mess. Kind of like I suspected. This is the belt jammed all back behind this pulley. So don't know if I can keep you in here, but it's a E10. So just like the tensioner, it's a reverse. It's basically the star pattern, so it's like a Torx bit, but the reverse of a Torx bit. So there we go. Now I did lift this engine up just a little bit so I could get to it. Let's see if this thing pops off. Now this tensioner here may have some pressure on it, so I don't know if I have to lower it down and relieve the pressure or not, but we'll see, I guess. This is an 18 millimeter. Let me lower it down a little bit and see if we can't relieve the tension on this tensioner here. So let me see if I can get a little better angle. So this tensioner here, let me show you how it works. So here's the replacement, and it has this little band thing on the side. I don't know if you can see it extending. So this band also has a tab here. When you pull this cable out, there's a little hole in it, and it's gonna catch right there, and that's gonna extend it. So what this does is the belt, obviously the back of the belt is over here, and this thing squeezes against the back of the belt and then squeezes against the rubber of this water pump pulley, and thus gives us, that's what spins the water pump pulley. So this tab actually pulls out fairly easily, and then stick it up there, and now it's loose-ish. All right, let's see if we can. This is an 18. That's all it took. That just broke it free, so yeah. Oh man, look at that. That's a mess. But the pulley's still good. Just filled it up. And like I suspected, it looked like it got in there and fouled up our yes, that. But the good news is I have another one. So let me spray this off with a little cleaner and then pull the seal out and replace it. No, what is going on here? This one, not in bad shape. I think it just might have pushed in a little bit, but didn't really damage it. But let's put the new one in. I think I'm going to put a little bit of silicone, look like I did it with this one around the outside, to help it sit and stay. Put about as thin a coat as I could. Comes with the, not an installer, but a cone to keep its shape, which is cool. I like that. But the oh, there we go. I'll just push it in by hand. Why not? Right about there. That's it. Pull the cone out. Oh, and this difference is this has a double lip. That's cool. So I did push it in just slightly more than the other because this does have a groove on it. I don't know if you can see the groove there, but this idiot wants to be a groovy. There. I'll put this back in. Don't need these anymore. Alright, now we're going to move on to this tensioner. This bolt is easiest to get to with just a wrench. Well, as you can see by this one, there's 3 bolts. I'm going to take this one out, and then I might do the others from the top, but let me grab I think a different ratcheting wrench is good, but this is just turning forever, so I'm not going to submit you to that. I moved to the top, so I got this lower bolt out. I probably could have got this lower bolt out from here as well. I cranked the engine up as far as I could with the jack. Now I'll tell you that these are super tight. The head of the ratcheting is too big to get in there. So these two bolts will come out pretty simple, and then these three will need a little more persuasion. So let me show you a trick for that. Let's see if I got a trick here. And you can still see it. We will see if that's possible. Just put 2 wrenches on here. And you'll be able to get 2 of them at least. And then for the third, let's get a pry bar. Alright, so that was the trick here. The screwdriver fits between the end of between the bolt and the end of the shaft there, and it'll hold it steady to take them out. So all those bolts are loose. I'm just going to pull them out and drop those. Should drop out the bottom, I think. Well, don't forget to drain the coolant. But I think I've got the engine jacked all the way up. I think I can get to the top bolts from here. And the bottom bolts are going to come out from the bottom. So close. It's free. Well, I do need 2 hands, but I'm going to be able to get the ratchet on the top 2 from up here, and then I'll lower the engine down again and get it from the back. Or, I'm sorry, from the bottom. Again, I think with the ratchet. Alright, well, there are 5 bolts on that water pump. The top one is actually not very easy to get to, so this plastic wiring piece that went across the top, once I pulled that apart, I was actually able to just get fish underneath the bracket for the light, but fish the ratchet in there with the shorty. A deep well won't work. I couldn't get a deep well deep well 1/4 inch in there. None of it would work, so that worked. Now I should be able to just pop this thing right out of here. The trick for the tensioner was you do have to lower this engine back down to pull it out the bottom. It just doesn't want to come out the top. Probably had to do the same for the water pump here, but because the engine is all the way at the top, I will lower the engine back down and pull it out from the bottom. Here's the water pump. Spins pretty good. It's about 2 years old, I would say. The old one, when the water pump blew and all the plastic melted, this was clumped full of plastic, so I was afraid I might find some residue, but I think this means that I got most of it out. You can see where some of it is still there, a little crusty on that side. Doesn't look like the weep hole was leaking, but it was crusty there. There's a little pin there. It literally, as I lowered the engine, it literally fell out. So it's got a rubber gasket. I won't put any sealant on that rubber gasket at all, but as soon as a new one shows up, I can get this thing back together. It looks good up in here, up inside there. Up in there it looks fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. Not long ago I did replace the there's a wire. It looks like it's rubbing on my axle, but other than that, I'll get that out of the way real quick. But yeah, I put the crossover pipe in not long ago, but yeah, looks good. Now I just wait for parts, or I go buy one of these. These are like 20 or 30, maybe a little more online. $130 at the parts store. So it's in stock at O'Reilly if I need to go buy it, but it's 3 times the price. Nothing but frustration with the Mini. For the most part, it's gone back together. I reused the old water pump, put a little RTV on the gasket, I ordered a water pump and the motor mount from Amazon. They were supposed to be here on Wednesday. It's Saturday at 7:15 p.m. They're not here, so they're not going to come tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow. I won't be back for 2 weeks. Not possible to wait. Second problem, the belt is too small. I went to O'Reilly and got another belt. It's a fraction of an inch larger, but still too small. You can't put it on normally. So I had to put it on the alternator and the air conditioner, and then I had to actually put a pry bar in at the crankshaft and turn the crankshaft as I pulled it in. That's just that problem. Now, as I'm about to put this back together, the way this this tensioner works, it's the 30 millimeter. Why is it 30? I don't know. I don't have a 30 millimeter, but this is a 30 millimeter head, I'm pretty sure, because my 29 doesn't fit, my 32 doesn't fit. This, you pull it back, and then this pin is supposed to retract. The problem is, and I saw this as I was putting this together, and I said, hey, this is wrong, and I pulled, there's a little, not a cotter pin, but a retaining pin here, cotter pin, and I knew it was too big to go out to fit back through the hole, so I took it out, and this pin went flying out. Now I can't get it out because I put the pin back in, and the pin won't come out. So they gave you a pin that's too long. So I guess you just take this out and leave it, because why not? So now I got to pull the pin out, pull this pin back out, and then just pull this pin out and leave it out, so you don't have this retainer. And yeah, man, I don't know. This car has just been, I wish I could sell it, but I can't. Back to it. But again, just going back the reverse way, the lower bolts were easier to get to from the bottom, and I've got the jack here, and I've just been, I've just been coming up and down. I got a rubber pad on the bottom, so I just been going up and down here with the jack, and back and forth, so I can get to everything as easily as possible. So I'll pull this pin out, and so the water pump was the same. Lower bolts from the bottom, upper bolts from the top. Same with the that other tensioner idler thing. Same with the bolts, just like I took it apart. So now I'm going back together again. I'm just going to pull this pin out, but this is a thing. The belt was a thing. Everything's a thing on this car. So, and I got to find a bolt for this solenoid. So hopefully it'll go back together after this. We'll see. Cross your fingers and wish me luck. Well, it's almost dark outside, but it's running. It hasn't thrown the belt yet. AC's working. It's not doing a little backfire because I replaced the 3-inch or 2.5-inch exhaust clamp that didn't fit with a smaller one that was also a bear to put on. But yeah, the belt was the biggest problem. I don't know, maybe I can research that. If I find anything, I'll let you know. I'm not going to spend a lot of time researching it, but if I find something, I'll let you know if there's a bigger belt, because that belt sucks. It was almost impossible to get on. So the belt that came from Amazon, I'll put a link in there, but I'll say it's too short. The tensioner also, it's not built right. That drift pin is too long. So I just removed it. Other than that, it's running pretty smooth. Hasn't thrown the belt yet. I'll give it a drive tomorrow and jump back in put some words up here if it messed up. Tomorrow I'm going to drive it 5 hours, 300 miles to Virginia. So that'll be a good road test. But yeah, don't disconnect the hood and then close it. It's not good. That had me frustrated. The belt absolutely had me frustrated. And then, remember to put things back in order. I kind of put the tensioner on before the water pump, or pump pulley, and then put the pump pulley on, whatever. But it went together the exact reverse way. Taking off that mount and raising that engine up and down it helps. It helps a lot. You can get to it from the bottom. It's a little more difficult without taking off maybe if you had a hoist, without taking off that bracket, but that bracket, it'll just save you time, save you effort. So I'm glad the alternator wasn't bad. But yeah, everything else seems to be good. Like I said, it's charging, AC, everything. So I think maybe the way that belt, the belt gets ridden from both sides against, like crammed in between the water pump and the crankshaft. So I think this belt just needs to be changed a little more often than a standard belt, because it's getting a little more wear. So I'm gonna check the temperature and find out if we're good or not. But thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Water pumps on this thing is a bear. The liking and subscribing is free, by the way, and I'll catch you on the next one.